Night Wolves, and welcome back to another video on my channel. And today we are back with another video about I've been doing like ex-best friend, ex that I regret dating. Now I am doing my best friend that I am friends with right now. And yes, my nails are painted. Anyway, so my now best friend, her name is Rebecca, aka Becca. I only call her Becca, but her full name is Rebecca, but I just call her Becca for short. So me and Becca technically we met in middle school, but we didn't become best friends until high school. She was at my table for some reason. I think she was with one of her friends that I was friends with, and she was sitting at our table with that friend, and me and her didn't really talk. We didn't talk at all. I knew she was very shy. At the time I met her, she had black hair. She didn't have like her natural hair, which is blonde. And at the time she had black hair, and I'm like, oh, look it's an emo girl or something like that. That's what my mind went to. She's not emo, but my mind's like, oh, look she's emo because she has black hair. But yeah, so I saw her. She was very quiet, very shy, didn't say anything. I didn't say anything to her, and she was scared of me, which I don't blame her for being scared of me, because I had a problem when I was in middle school, which is I hit people. I don't now, but I used to hit people. I went through weird phases as a kid. I went through a hitting phase when I was in high school. Like, I would see something on TV and my brain will be like, huh, I should do that. You know, that thing, I should do that. So I was a fanatic. I loved anime. And when I seen an anime girl, she would laugh and hit the guy when she was laughing. And in my head, I'm like, oh, okay. So when a guy says something funny, I laugh and then I hit him. I hate my brain. I hate it so much. And I know this is a thing. I know this is a habit of mine. I tend to see something that, like, say I'm watching a YouTuber, or like if I'm hanging out with someone, I will take something of what they do and I take and make it my own kind of thing. It's weird. So I'm into anime. I watched an anime where this girl was like ha 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 laughing and hitting this guy. And of course, it just like, oh, that's what I gotta do, you know? So I was with this guy, and this guy said something funny, and I hit him. And the thing is, it wasn't just guys, I did it to girls too. So every time when anyone said anything funny, oh my god, I freaking hit them. And I wasn't like, obviously I wasn't doing it to be mean. And I didn't think I was hitting them that hard. I thought I was like lightly tapping them. I'm like, ha 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 ha, you're so funny. But in reality, I was actually hitting them harder than I thought, and I was actually hurting them. Becca saw this, and it scared her, and of course, that's why we didn't become friends at that very moment, because I had a hitting problem. Of course, it was brought to my attention that I had this hitting problem, so I, of course, had to condition myself not to do that. Every time when I was around anyone, I will legitly sit on my hands if I was around anyone, because I knew I had a problem. I knew I had a problem, and I was working on fixing it. So every time I was around my friends, I would put my hands like this, and I will talk to them instead of having my hands out where they could be a hazardous thing. So I eventually got over the hitting thing, and we're moving on to high school, where me and her finally meet. I was at lunch, sitting at this table, and she came over. I don't remember who was sitting with me and why she sat with me, but I'm pretty sure it was one of her friends that she was friends with, but I was also friends with that friend, but we weren't friends. Like, me and Becca weren't friends, but I was friends with one of her friends. So one of her friends sat with me, and then she, of course, just walked over and sat down because she knew someone there. So she was sitting down, and I don't know what the conversation was about, but I think it was about anime. And that's what hit off our friendship. Anime. I was an anime freak. I was hardcore into anime. I was into like Naruto, Inuyasha, pretty old anime. And so I don't know what the anime we were talking about, but we were talking about anime, and that's how our relationship hit it off. We became best friends at that moment. We sat there all through lunch talking about anime, and then I don't know if we exchanged numbers, or I don't think we exchanged numbers, but I think after we talked that one day, she hung out with me, and then eventually we exchanged numbers, and then we became friends. At that time, we weren't best of friends, but we were friends, working our way up to becoming best friends. And Becca, she was into regular classes, and I was in special ed classes. So I only got to see her around the time of lunch, it's like that. And then eventually I got into regular classes, and then we got to see each other. And one time I was so excited because we finally got a class together, which we never had a class together, and I was like hoping that we would get a class together, and we finally did. And then she ended up becoming homeschooled, and I was super pissed off at her because she got homeschooled. But I can't really blame her now, and I felt horrible because at the time I didn't know the reasoning behind her getting homeschooled. Now I do, and I felt completely horrible after I found out the actual reason behind it. I remember I was like so excited, like, yay, we finally got a class together, and we had class together a few times, and then she ended up being homeschooled, and Becca, she had a hard time in school. I think I might have been bullied, but I was just so thick-headed. Like, I don't know, like, things don't get to me. Like, I don't know, it's weird. Like, people could probably be bullying me, and I probably wouldn't even, like, notice it. It was just weird how I don't know how to explain it. For, like, I actually one time did get bullied in the school, on the school bus. I was sitting on the bus, and people were asking me questions, and I didn't understand the question. So I would give them like a random answer because I didn't know what to say. So they would like laugh and then repeat the question and make me repeat my answer multiple times, and then you'll just sit there and laugh at me. So like I shouldn't have said I haven't been bullied, but I have been bullied. So, but like I've grown to ignore those kind of things. So it doesn't, like, if somebody bullied me, I probably just like block them out because that's how I did things. Instead of letting them get to me, I just put up a wall, and that was it. I just shut them out, and that was the end of it. But for Becca, it wasn't like that. She couldn't just put up a wall and she could just like ignore them. So it really got to her. It really drained her to the point where she had to go and be homeschooled because of the bullying. There's some things that comes out of my mouth, and I'm just like, why did I say that? And I can't believe that you're still my friend after all the shit that I said. Because there's so much things that I've said in the past that I regret saying, and I'm like, why did you ever stay being friends with me? Because the thing is, I tend to say exactly what's on my mind. What you get is what you get, and I pretty much have no filter. I do have some filters, but sometimes I don't have a filter, and things just come out, and then I'm like, and then I feel guilty, and then I'm like, why did I say that? And then I start overthinking it, and I'm freaking out, and me and her became friends, and then there was the feelings that I had that went beyond friendship, and those were feelings of actually wanting to be more than just friends. It happened around this one summer. I can't remember what summer it was, but I remember this one summer. Her mom, her sister, and her dad went off on a holiday for the summer. And I asked Becca, hey, since they're going to be away for, I think it was about a week or two. I think it was a week. I'm like, since they're going to be away for that long, I don't want you to be there all by yourself. My best friend, she is a diabetic. She is type 1 diabetic. She was born with it. So when I knew they were going to be away for a very long time, I was scared. I'm like, well, you're going to be away and you're a diabetic. What happens if something happens? I didn't tell her my worries. I'm just like, in my head, I'm like, oh, she's going to be alone all by herself. I don't want her to be alone. So I said, hey, how about I come and spend the week or 2 weeks or whatever, however long they were away for, how about I come and stay with you? And she's like, okay, let me ask my parents. So she asked, and they said, okay. They agreed to it, and I went to her house and stayed with her. And we stayed up one night talking for a very long time until the sun came up. And I've never, ever had that with anyone. So you see where my feelings had started for her. The thing is, I have a thing for my best friend. I have told her that. She knows I have feelings for her, and no, it does not get in the way of our relationship. Talking, the sun came up, and I'm like, holy crap, the sun's up, we should get to bed. And I knew at that moment that I started to have feelings for her, but of course I bottled it up, and I'm like, I can't tell her because I don't want to lose her as a friend and stuff like that. So I just kept my feelings to myself, and the whole week went by, and I didn't tell her how I felt, but I knew my feelings grew beyond friendship at that point. And then one day, it was around the time of Becca either she graduated or it was after her graduation. I can't remember exactly what one it was. I don't remember if it was before she graduated or after she's already done with high school and is out. But I was sitting in my room, and we were texting back and forth, and she's like, I need to ask you something. And I'm like, okay, what is it? And in my head, I'm like, oh my gosh, she's gonna ask me out or something. But I'm like, no. Becca doesn't have those feelings for me. Don't, no. And she actually did. She asked me out. Now, I don't want to paint Becca as a bad person because she is not. She just has really bad anxiety, like super bad anxiety. So she thought that she was going to lose me as a friend, and that's why she asked me out. I know what you're probably thinking. Like, what? I, of course, agreed because I had feelings for her. And I've always been into girls and guys. I knew that from a very young age. So I had feelings for her, and I was like over the moon happy. I'm like, yes, I love to date you. And of course, I thought, oh, we're gonna hold hands, be a couple. And none of this stuff was happening. Like, we never held hands. We never did anything like a couple would do. And I thought that was kind of weird. But I didn't pay much attention to it. I was just over the moon happy to be with her because I had these feelings for her for so long. We dated. I don't know how long we dated. I think maybe a month. Maybe a month. I can't remember exactly how long we dated, but I know we dated for a very long time. And then it came to a screeching halt with a big crash. Yeah, so we were at her cousin's house, and we were doing karaoke. Now, her cousin wanted to sing first, so I'm like, okay, yeah, sure, you can sing first. They sing a song, and then she wanted to do a song with Becca. I'm like, okay, fine, do a song with Becca. So she did a song with Becca, and then she wanted to sing another one. And I'm like, well, when is it going to be my turn? Because I want to have a turn, You can't just keep, singing. And now, mind you, we're back in high school, so we're still pretty young. We're teenagers. We don't know, we know about dating, but we don't know about dating and stuff like that. But we got into an argument because I wanted to sing and she wouldn't let me sing, and we just got into this argument. And then I looked at Becca like, are you gonna do anything? And she didn't do anything, and she just up and walked away. Like, hello, like, I'm your girlfriend, you should be standing up for me or something. I know it's her cousin and her best friend / kind of girlfriend, but she didn't. And I got really upset, and I went into the bathroom, and I was in the bathroom kind of crying. And I don't know, I just ended it. I just text her. I'm like, I think we should break up, because there was multiple reasons for the breakup. It wasn't just that fight that was the breakup point. It was the whole thing. We weren't even acting like a couple, even though we were dating for a very long time. And then the whole me and her cousin get into an argument, and she didn't say anything. And then I guess that was the tipping point. And I couldn't handle it anymore, and I completely just text her saying we're done. And I think she might have said sorry, and then she said okay or something like that. And I just sat in the bathroom sobbing my eyes out because I was completely heartbroken because my feelings were so deep for her. And I was just sitting there crying my eyes out, and then I'm like, I can't just sit in here for the rest of the time just sobbing my eyes out. I need to get out of this bathroom. So I wiped my eyes and I walked out, and you could tell that I was crying because, like, when I cry, my eyes get really puffy, and you could just tell that I was sobbing my eyes out. So I got out of the bathroom, and then we went upstairs to where we were sleeping. And I did not sleep. I don't remember ever sleeping. I stayed up pretty much all night, sobbing my eyes out and crying and just wanting to go home because I was too far away from home to have my mom come and get me or go home or have her mom drop me off. We were actually out of town at the time, so I sat up, sobbing my eyes out, crying. I thought, oh great, our friendship is over, and I was also heartbroken over the breakup. So you would probably think, well, you guys are best friends still, so how did you guys manage to keep your friendship afloat after all that? I don't know how. I really don't. Like, we got home from that whole thing, and I got home and I sat in my room and I told my mom that we broke up because I actually texted my mom and I'm like, oh, me and Becca are dating. And oh yeah, I'm actually, at the time I thought I was actually bisexual, but later on I find out that I'm pansexual because I didn't know what the difference was and whatever. So I texted my mom that we were dating and that I was bi, and she of course supported me. And then the whole breakup and stuff like that, and then fast forward, and I got home. Mom realized I was upset, and she asked me what was wrong. I said I didn't really want to talk about it, and I went into my room. And then later on, she came and asked me what happened, and I told her straight up that me and Becca broke up. Pretty much just told her everything. And then I think the only thing that really saved mine and Becca's relationship was because me and Becca, we are big anime fans, so we tend to do chats like role playing, RP role playing. We do role playing on our phones, so we text chats that we call, and we play out like couples that we wished got together and so like that. You know what role playing is, right? So we did that on our phones, and I think that's the only thing that saved our relationship because we just really like doing the role playing and like that. So we just continued on doing it as if nothing happened between us. I actually wanted to talk about what happened between us, but Becca seemed like she just wanted it to disappear, and she acted like it never happened. Every time I brought it up, she pretty much just brushed it off like nothing happened. And I'm like, but something did happen, but you're acting like nothing happened, which kind of obviously hurt me. We eventually did talk about it though, and she said that she never really had those type of feelings for me, and that she only the reason why she did that was because she was afraid of losing me after she graduated from high school. So, of course, when I found that out, it hurt really bad and it made me heartbroken all over again. But I couldn't, like, be mad at her because she has an illness, which is her anxiety. She has depression and anxiety, but her anxiety is, like, super badly. And Becca didn't even know that she was bisexual. She didn't know that she was bisexual. She didn't know she liked girls or guys or both. She wasn't sure about it and so like that. And then one day I was in college at this point in time, and Becca texted me, I really need to talk to you, can I call you? And I'm like, yeah, sure. So she called me and she told me that she is bisexual and that she wanted to come out, and she came out to her mom and her dad already, and she wanted to tell me, and she thought that she was going to burst out crying, but she didn't, in which I'm glad she didn't, because she has no reason to cry because, like, I've been pansexual my whole entire life, and I never hid how I felt about girls. It's a different day in a different setting. I know, there's this one part of the story that I keep mixing up, and I can't remember what comes first and stuff like that, but now I remembered. I wish I remembered how it went when I was telling this story. But anyways, so she came out to me, and she said that she was bisexual, and so we were sitting there talking about our past and some other stuff, and we were also talking about what type of girls that she was into and stuff like that. And every time she said anything that remotely like was about me, kind of, I'm like, oh, so like me and so like that. At this time I hadn't told her that I still had feelings for her. I'm pretty sure she knew that I had feelings for her. Yay, she's into girls. And so I was like, maybe she has feelings for me. And I wanted to tell her so bad that I still have feelings for her and stuff like that, but I couldn't bring myself to tell her. And then skip to Christmas time, New Year's. I finally worked up the courage after weeks of sitting there texting out how I felt, thinking about sending it, and then I didn't. So a whole week I sat there texting her, I like you, and blah, blah, and then I deleted it, and then finally, around Christmas, New Year's, I was at my mom's house. I texted her how I felt, and I sent it to her, and I sat there, and I felt like I was going to throw up. I was shaking so bad. I knew that she was going to reject me. I was hoping that I was wrong, though, even though I knew that she was going to reject me. I'm like, she's going to reject me. I know she's going to reject me, but maybe there's like a slight chance that she might not reject me. So, of course, I had told her how I felt. And I don't know what she was doing at that time. She was busy or something, so she took a long time to respond to me. And I'm just like, what is she doing? Respond to me. And I was freaking out, and I legitimately was about to throw up. I was like that nervous about the whole situation. And then finally she texted me back, just rejecting me, obviously, telling me that she didn't feel that way and that she sees me as a sister. I've been rejected not once by that, but twice. So, like, I told this one guy that I felt how I felt about him, and he's like, oh, I see you as a sister. And I'm like, yep, I don't want to hear that. And then I told Becca how I felt, and then she's like, I see you as a sister. So I'm like, yay, me. But yeah, so there you guys have it. There's the whole story. And yeah, you might think it's crazy that we're still friends or whatever, but I just like having her around and having her as a friend. And I could put my feelings for her aside and just be her friend. And I'm okay with that. Eventually, I will find someone that I am meant to be with. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Sorry this video was so long. I didn't realize I was rambling on for so long. And while I was editing this, and of course I had to put this in here because I was mixing some stuff up, and I'm like, ugh, I didn't know which came first, her telling me that she was bisexual, or me confessing my feelings, but I think she told me she was bisexual. Then I told her that I had feelings for her still. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and now you guys got a little insight on me and my best friend. And yeah, like I said, I can push my feelings aside and still be friends with her because, like, I want her still in my life and still as my best friend. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, make sure you give this video a thumbs up, ring that bell if you want to see more videos from me, subscribe if you want to, and I'll see all you beautiful night wolves in the next video. Goodbye.
Love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah. No, I don't